You've argued over many years that the consumer's been getting a very bad deal from the asset management industry. Presumably now, as a result of the FCA report, you're feeling more optimistic about the future.
I am, and I think we have to, as an industry, start communicating to people how vital an industry it is, because people are living longer and they need to have savings put aside. So we need to have an industry that's fit for purpose. And I think this report is a game changer from that point of view. And culturally, I'm hoping that the industry understands its moral duty, if you like, when it comes to making sure that the majority of any returns go back into the investors, the prudent investors' pockets, rather than the pockets of the industry.
The interim report was quite categorical about active funds generally not outperforming after costs and the benefits of investing in low-cost passive funds. Do you expect now a move away from active funds in the UK towards passive funds, as we've seen, for example, in the US?
I think it will start. It won't be quite as advanced and as swift as it has been in the US. And the reason I say that is because of the English mindset. We're not as actively engaged in our investments here. Individuals aren't as they are in the US. There is still a reliance on majority of funds or products being bought through advisors. So I think the pressure has to be on the advisor market. They are absolutely, as far as I'm concerned, remiss in not recommending passives to their investors. And that's where the change has got to start very quickly.
Why do you think many, if not most, advisors in the UK continue to advocate active fund management?
They're conflicted. It's a case of soft commissions. They're invited to lavish events, sporting events, flown around the world to conferences. And the advisory market also sell brand. Because the big houses spend so much on advertising, it's so much easier for an advisor to put a glossy brochure across someone's desk rather than doing their job, which is actually finding the best product for that investor. And I think things will change, but also the investor themselves have to start asking the questions. And don't forget, when it comes to the direct to consumer, the platforms and the best buy lists, they have also been highlighted in this report as not doing the best for consumers. I mean, basically, the best buy lists have been complete and utter waste of time because they do not include ETFs and passives. The majority of them have not. So they have to, again, be reformed to recommend what's best for the investor, passives and ETFs.
What part do you think the financial media has played in the continuing popularity of active funds?
I think, again, it's about conflicts of interest. You've got the reality, the commercial reality when it comes to media, that a lot of their advertising comes from the active fund world. But it should be balanced. I obviously understand that, but there has to be a balance, and we haven't even seen the balance in the press. You know, if someone's going to talk in an investor publication about, the best managers or the best products, flip through. Do you see a passive or do you see a portfolio manager using ETFs? The answer tends to be no, but there has to be a mindset at all sectors of the industry and all stakeholders.
If, as you expect will happen, more people start using passive funds, do they still need a financial advisor?
Interesting one. I think the advisors have to redefine where they add value, and that's not in investments. It's actually in the financial planning sector. So it's about, the advisors for years have decided that they are the investment managers and they know better than investment managers. Well, actually they don't. Their job is looking at estate planning, inheritance, tax, etc. They should be doing that job of work, and the managers manage the money.
What do you make of robo-advice?
I think robo-advice is a misnomer because the industry has not understood that technology is an enabler, not a replacer. And if you look at somewhere like the Massachusetts Financial Authority, they have been so concerned about robo-advice mis-selling that they are actually saying now that they're not sure they're going to actually allow any new entrants. And I think robo-advice itself is a problem waiting to explode. And I think people have to be very, very cautious about robo-advice. It's about technology enabling better efficiencies, not about replacing investment managers.
Finally, I know you feel very strongly that the financial services sector is too dominated by white, middle-class, middle-aged men. What can we do about that?
Well, I think part of the problem is the reputation of the industry. why would you want a young lady to go into the industry, or your son from whatever background? You know, there is a reputational problem with the city in terms of honesty, transparency and trust. And those are the things that if we can put right, I think we would attract very different people into the sector. But also you've got the unconscious biases of having those pale, male and stale, if you like, individuals at the top. And they set the tone culturally for organisations. So there has to be a top-down as well as a bottom-up change when it comes to culture within the organisations.
Gina Miller, thank you very much.
Thank you.
The problem that you've helped solve for us is that we're able to leverage off content production that we could never afford to produce in our own right. So the message and the level of consistency that we're able to publish our own branded videos is at a level that we simply couldn't do if we were having to produce those videos ourselves from scratch. And it's definitely resulting in higher brand awareness within our market.